Hello, my name is Mohsen Sazegara, and my lecture is about the relationship between Iran and Israel regimes and people. And it's my pleasure to be with you in 20 minutes, and thank you for having me in your conference. To understand the relationship between Iran and Israel, we should go back to at least 4 decades before, the generation before victory of Islamic revolution. My generation, I call that generation of 70s and 60s, generation of revolution. We had several reasons to be anti-Israel, because we were revolutionary ideologists. We believed in anti-capitalism, anti-US, and somehow we were pro-Palestinians. We were pro struggle against Israel, and many of the activists of Islamic revolution were trained in Palestinian camps, were fighting with Israel, like Dr. Chamran in Lebanon. And I can say that to be revolutionary on those days was necessary. To be revolutionary was to be anti-Israel as well. And the idea of fighting with Israel, elimination of Israel, and wiping out of Israel from the geography map was not only for Ayatollah Khomeini, the leader, but it was born with the Islamic revolution at the same time in the minds of the other leaders, the activists, and maybe many of the people who supported the Islamic revolution. But this generation, after victory of revolution, it was this idea was very soon translated to some actions, some certain actions in whole region. Let's put it on this way, that after victory of revolution, three main pillars of foreign policy of Islamic Republic, the newborn regime, was first to be anti-US. United States, as the head of the capitalist world, head of the democratic world, and the country who was one of the main target of fighting with. Second pillar was anti-Israel, pro-Palestinians, pro fighting with regime of Israel. And third, looking at everything from the ideological point of view, not necessarily based on national benefits, but based on the ideological targets. For instance, if we believed in exportation of Islamic revolution as an ideological task, as a revolutionary duty, we thought that it doesn't matter that how much national interest will be sacrificed. We should go for that, and we should fight for that. These three pillars, I mean anti-US, anti-Israel, and ideological version of foreign policy, were the main pillars of foreign policy of Islamic Republic during the last 38 years. If you look at all stances of foreign policy of Iran in several aspects, all getting close to countries or fighting with other countries, and get close or get distance from any stance in the world somehow relates to one or two or all three parts of these main guidelines and main policies of foreign policy of Iran. Right after victory of revolution, of course, these three parts of foreign policy was translated to first closing the embassy of Israel in Tehran, giving that place to Palestinian government, and starting to help the Palestinian organizations and the many other groups all around the world who believed in fighting with Israel. In revolutionary guard, when from the first days of establishment of revolutionary guard, the idea of exportation of revolution to help the other Islamic revolutionaries in other countries was considered as a main target and policy of revolutionary guard. At the same time, in Foreign Ministry of Iran, a special office was opened to help the freedom fighters all around the world, or revolutionary fighters, better to say, and help the freedom movements all around the world, especially in Islamic countries and the groups which were fighting with Israel. It took a few years after the first steps in Islamic Republic, when the war started between Iran and Iraq. 8 years war, brutal war with thousands of people killed, 265,000 Iranians lost their lives in 8 years war, and maybe 500,000 wounded people, and I believe that the same amount in Iraqi side as well. In that war, gradually many things were changed. I mean, first of all, some liberation movement, Palestine Liberation Organization (PLO), gradually changed his relationship from Tehran to Iraq. So that support of PLO was stopped during the war between Iran and Iraq. And many of the leaders of the country found out that fighting with an Arab country will change the ideas of many Arab organizations. And this is not like that you can have good relationship with the Arab organizations when you are fighting with an Arab country. So revise and revision on some ideas started from the war between Iran and Iraq. During this war, Quds Force was founded. Actually, the first steps of Quds Force in Revolutionary Guard was in the direction of helping the Iraqis opposition who fled to Iran, mobilize them to go and fight with Saddam Hussein, and Kurd people and Kurdish political parties to fight with Saddam Hussein. That was the first steps for Quds Force. But gradually, especially after end of the war, that organization, Quds Force, changed the first definition, and the mission of this force was changed to liberation movements and make Hezbollah groups, this is what they call it, in other Islamic countries. or better to say, Quds Force is in charge of out of Iran operations for terrorism and terrorist organizations. The other thing that during the war between the period of war between Iran and Iraq happened was establishment of Hezbollah in Lebanon, a type of organization which I call it a hybrid organization, an organization with political, like a political party, and at the same time to have militia and to be involved in military actions, and at the same time to be involved in business and getting money. Just like the Revolutionary Guard in Iran. I mean, what happened in Lebanon, establishment of Hezbollah at the first time to help the Shia people in Lebanon, gradually was evolved to an organization similar to Revolutionary Guard in Iran, an organization with militia force and with political ambitions like a political party, and involved in business, smuggling, money. And this model to make organizations like Revolutionary Guard all around the region became a type, I can say, a prototype for making other organizations in other countries. So Quds Force started to develop the model of Hezbollah after end of the war between Iran and Iraq to other countries, including to Gaza and Palestinian groups. Based on such an idea, helping Hamas and some Shia groups in Israel and in Palestinian lands was the target of Quds Force, and in other countries as well, like Houthis in Yemen or in Iraq or in Afghanistan or even West Africa, and right now trying to do the same in Latin America, especially in Venezuela or Bolivia or some other countries. Of course, in Christian countries, somehow the model is quite different, but the essence and the gist of definition of these organizations are the same. By this tool, I can say, by this method, involvement of Quds Force was developed from just revolutionary activities, or better to say terrorism and terrorist activities, to several other areas like politics, business, and not only in whole region but in Iran as well. I mean, in whole region, this is Revolutionary Guard and Quds Force, which is in charge of the foreign policy of the country. Ministry of Foreign Affairs does not have any real authority for policies in these countries. This is how gradually the regime of Iran, especially the divisions like Revolutionary Guard that are controlled by the leader and non-elective part of the regime of Iran, gradually were involved in intervention in whole region. But on the other side of the regime, on the other executive parts of the regime, the elected parts of the regime, especially the government of Iran, which the president at the top of the government is elected by the people, in these parts, the first ideas was gradually evolved to other ideas, especially during the reform movement when Khatami was president of Iran. Big questions was there were big questions over the first ideas of revolution. Why should we fight with the US? Why should we fight with Israel? And the contradiction inside the regime started, especially during Khatami. It was continued so far. But forget about the regime. The main changes happened inside the society. I mean, when the generation, my generation of revolution, we are only 7 million people alive from that generation. Iran has 78 million population right now. And younger people, 2 generations after revolution generation, they don't believe in such ideas. And wherever they find any opportunity, like green movement, you can see the stance of the people of Iran. The famous slogan of the people in one of the million people demonstration of green movement, نه غزه نه لبنان جانم فدای ایران, no to Gaza, no Gaza, no Lebanon, I want to sacrifice my life for Iran, was a reflection of a deep idea and beliefs inside the society. And right now, if you go to social networks where the people say their ideas, you can see several comments, several assertions from several parts of the society that they believe that they don't have any problem, not only with Israel, but with no country in the world. They want to live with the world, they want to have good relationship, and they want to work with the world. This evolution, I can say, these changes inside the society has created lots of forces on the government of Iran to change the ideas, but the battle inside the government is still going on. Right now, I can say that inside the government there are 2 big ideas, 2 big factions. One faction, the leader, Revolutionary Guard, and the judiciary power, Ministry of Intelligence, Basij, these parts, they still believe to fight with Israel, to spend Iran's resources and monies in Syria, in Yemen, in Israel, anti-Israel, to develop the terrorist groups against Israel, to support the network of thugs to attack to ordinary citizens of Israel, whatever they are doing right now. And the other part of the regime, government of Rouhani and supported by Rafsanjani and the others, they think that enough is enough and they should stop fighting with the world and try to have good relationship with the world. I think that as the conclusion of my short lecture, I think that the best way is to facilitate relationship between 2 nations, nation of Israel and nation of Iran. Cultural relationship, like what happened in music bands in Germany, an Israelis and Iranian band, they had concerts together. Exchange of movies, cultural affairs, artists, writers, and talking about the historical relationship between these two nations. And Second, I think that now is the time that business between two countries and business areas, especially in some certain fields like environmental or water supplies, which Iran needs help too much. These are the fields and other fields that businesses, industries, and technologies can be dealt between two countries, and these steps can pave the way and create enough force from the deep society, grassroots of the society, to change the behavior of the regime of Iran as well. Thank you.